Okay, so welcome to the second part of the Gilroy Collaboratory. So this is our astrobiology lab. This is where we implement many projects, which with the goal of taking people to Mars, projects funded by NASA. The first one we started was called TOAST, Test of Arabidopsis Space Transcriptome. So this is my office area. So we have a collaborative workbench, so we can get teams of students working on the whiteboard, coming up with ideas and challenges and solutions. This is a great place for inventing new experimental designs. Along the side here, we have a bunch of different pictures of astronauts. Okay, cool. Books about different things, environmental stresses on plants, how plants sense gravity, how plant roots grow, and data, and how to visualize data. So that's kind of the focus of our research, is plants and their environmental interactions. But in order to do that, we have to have lots of interdisciplinary projects. So some of our projects work on things like cotton. Can you see this cotton? Just kind of fluffy. There's seeds that we're going to take in from that. And we're going to send some of that cotton to the International Space Station later this year. And so we invent a bunch of new tools. So we've always got like computers out on display that we're tearing and 3D printing bits and pieces to create new experimental designs. It's what we do, and every now and then we get the experiment system just right. And for example, this particular experimental system here, this is the new protocol that we invented for sending plants to the space station. So you can see there's this root coming down here. So this is some cotton plants that we grew in the system to test it, to check that it worked. Awesome. Okay, cool. So this is where our engineering apprentice usually sits. Because of COVID, there's no one here now, but we always like to have an engineer in the lab. Over here, this is where our molecular biologist sits. Again, because of COVID, there's nobody here, but this is where we like to have a biology student planning genetic engineering. Again, they get their own personal whiteboard. This seat here, well, this is where our computer programmer usually sits. Again, because of COVID, there's no one here. But essentially, they have access to a cloud computing system that allows them to control things like this photography robot. So this big system here is designed to have to grow like hundreds of petri dishes and photograph it with this camera. We have like a built-in lighting system. Whoa, it's bright. So we can grow plants quite happily here for a week or two and measure the speed at which they grow while photographing them all. But again, because of COVID, it's empty. So this lab is usually kind of bustling with students doing experiments. Like this area here, again, we have teams of undergraduate biology students designing experiments based on our spaceflight data. We have some other tools down the front here. This is a device for illuminating plants with far red light. That color of light makes seeds go dormant. So this device has been used to send dormant seeds to the space station. We also embrace STEAM. So a student of ours, we used to work with, a student we mentored, was really into metalwork. And so he made one of these pipettes out of brass. It's really cool. This is an electrical engineering device that's designed to give plants a cold stimulus. Essentially, we can activate the device by flicking a switch, fan comes on, and then this region here is really cold. You have to take my word for it. So this system here can give plants a cold shock, or humans a cold shock. So again, that's one of the devices that our undergraduate engineering students and electrical engineering students have been developing over time. But this is one of our favorites just here. This is what we call the space helmets. These are low oxygen chambers. Essentially, we've built a system that allows us to control the oxygen concentration inside these different chambers using a system of like valves and pumps and Arduinos, electronics and oxygen sensors controlled through this computational hub just here. What this system here does